Flank steak, when it's good, it can be very, very good. It can be very flavorful, it's inexpensive, it can be tough. But that's why a lot of people marinate on them. But that's kind of questionable as to how well marinade works beyond just the surface of the meat. So today, I'm going to be showing you a technique for doing flank steak and getting a good, tender product, and we're not even going to use any marinade. Let's get going. I'm Ralph. Welcome to my kitchen. And I've got a great flank steak right here. What I did was earlier, I seasoned this up. Now I used a mixture of a couple of teaspoons of sugar, a quarter teaspoon of pepper, make that a half teaspoon of pepper, and a half teaspoon of salt. Blended that all together, and after patting the meat dry, I sprinkled it on both sides, and then I put it in the refrigerator to go through a process of pulling the moisture out of the steak. Then it puts the moisture back into the steak with the seasonings, and in the process also helps to tenderize it. Now, I've pulled it out of the refrigerator. I've given it a little bit of time to temper here on the counter. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pat it dry. I've got it on a rack. I'm going to be putting it into the oven. The oven has been preheated to 225 degrees. I'm going to take my meter probe thermometer. I'm going to stick it into the meatiest part. I'm going to pick that up and make sure it did not come out the bottom, and it didn't, so excellent. I'm going to be putting this into the oven using my meter thermometer to bring it up to about, maybe 115. At that point, I'm going to be pulling it out, and I'm going to put a sear on it over on the griddle. When we get to that point, I'll explain the process a little bit more, but in the meantime, I'm just going to put this into the oven. There it is, 225 degrees, and the meter probe thermometer is going to tell me when to pull it out. So we'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, my meter probe thermometer tells me that it's reached the right temperature to be pulling it out of the oven. On to the next stage. Now, the meat's looking decent, but it's not there yet. It still needs to have that sear. So I'm going to be putting it on the griddle. I've got the griddle on medium-high heat, and we're going to be doing it on each side for 1 minute per side for about 3 to 4 flips. Now, part of the reason we're doing this is a flank steak so thin and the fibers are so long that when it hits the heat, those thinner edges are going to be wanting to curl up. So if you don't flip it over fairly regularly, fairly frequently, you're going to get that, and it's not going to get even searing. Okay, it's time to flip. Now, I'd already greased the pan. I'm just going to put a thin layer of avocado oil on this side. Hit the timer. And we'll be back in a minute. Time to flip again. Now I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit of ghee on here. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. Okay, according to the meter thermometer, we're at 132 degrees. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off. We're gonna give it just a moment to rest, and we'll be back for the slicing. See you then. Okay, it's time. Let's see how it turns out. First thing I'm gonna do is, the grain is going from this side to this side. So I'm gonna be using these for fajitas tonight. Now, when I was experimenting last night, I used them for strips of steak on my salad. So there's a lot of things you can do with this, but this would be kind of long and unwieldy for cutting if I left it all in one piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it down the middle. That's cutting very nicely. And that's looking really good. So let's get a few slices off here. Yes, that's cutting up really nice. These are going to make for awesome fajitas. And I didn't have to worry about making up some kind of a complicated marinade and sticking it all in a bag and keeping that in the refrigerator for like 24 to 36 hours. It was just simple. Salt, pepper, and sugar. Now the sugar also helps get a little bit better browning to it. Now let's see how it tastes. And let's take a good look at this. How does that look? Not too shabby, huh? It's feeling really tender, like you can just kind of pull this apart. Just really tender, really nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and taste that. You wouldn't know that this is supposed to be a tough cut of meat. This doesn't taste tough at all. Lots of good beef flavor, extremely juicy. This is pretty awesome. This is a great way to do it. I highly recommend it. If you feel like you like the video, go down below. Give me a like, give me a subscription, whatever. So until next time, bye-bye.